Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. So, we're going to be talking all about this new moon in Virgo. It's actually going to be happening on the 14th of September, so it's just a few days away. I hope you are all having a lovely weekend. It is a Sunday, the day of the sun. Hello, Patricia. You said, hello, Hannah. Good Sunday morning to you. Hoping you're doing well. You're a Virgo moon and you're interested in my analysis of this moon and how it will be with your husband and son and being Virgo sons. Well, interesting that you do have a Virgo moon. And so, yeah, a new moon happening in the sign that your natal moon rules or that your natal moon is located in. Hello, Eddie. How are you? Hi, Danielle. Hi, how are you doing? Hello, Ashley. Yeah, you finally caught me live. Woohoo! Welcome. Hello, Noral. Hi. But yes, welcome to everyone coming in. Eddie, you said the new moon is happening on your birthday. Happy birthday to you, Eddie. I hope you have the best day. Of course, then you are a Virgo. Your sun is in Virgo. Danielle, you said you only have your Virgo Mercury, Venus, and Mars, but then you have your Leo sun, Pisces moon, and Taurus rising. So a good blend of different signs there. Yeah, right. So it's very warm here. It's definitely not the autumn vibes that I was hoping for at the beginning of September, but just gonna roll with it, okay? Try to appreciate the sun while it lasts. So, yeah, let's get into this. I hope you're all having a lovely weekend, and of course, do stay tuned for your horoscopes at the very end. So, the presentation, bum bum bum. As I say, the new moon is going to happen on the 14th of September. So this is actually going to be the final new moon that is occurring then within the my gosh, the heat is getting to me. It's getting to me today. I do apologize. But yes, the final the final new moon in signs. So we're thinking about here Aries through to Virgo, so the first 6 signs, and then we're going to be moving into those transpersonal signs after this new moon. Okay. So I just want to inform you here. So if you have not already, of course, do make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, click the bell, keep notified, all that good stuff. And you can find my astrology products over at my website, hannahselsewhere.com. You can book a reading with me if you like. There's guides, there's cheat sheets, there's merch, everything. Practical eBooks. And then I also want to inform you about Patreon. So you can get access to videos early over at Patreon. And by supporting the Patreon and by supporting just Hannah's Elsewhere in general, you will have my gratitude, my thankfulness, my appreciation. You'll even gain access to behind the scenes information, what's coming to the channel, what's coming to Hannah's Elsewhere, Discord, PDF guides tied to new videos. Okay, so yeah, just to let you know about Patreon, it's a good time over there, and I hope that you can join. And I would really appreciate it if you did join. Right, so this is an overview of what we're going to be talking about today. So as you can see here, the sun and moon will both be in Virgo at 21 degrees, and they will actually be making a trine to Uranus retrograde. So this trine is going to be quite strong, so we're going to get into that. And then also Mercury is still retrograde during this new moon, and then it's going to turn direct. Okay, so it's going to be turning direct the day after. So the day after this new moon takes place. And Mercury retrograde will also oppose Saturn retrograde. So we're going to get into that. Just going to actually put my glasses on so I can see a little bit better. And then another thing is Jupiter retrograde will trine Mercury retrograde. Then looking toward Pluto retrograde, making a trine to the sun and moon. That trine isn't as strong. Then there also is Vesta, which is at 0 degrees in Cancer, which will trine Saturn retrograde, and it will also score Pallas in Libra, 0 degrees. So there's shifts happening with the asteroids coming up here very, very soon. Jupiter retrograde will also score Venus and Juno. Of course, Juno and Venus are kind of doing this dance right up until October. Good time to really reflect upon Venus retrograde, folks. Really a good time to do that throughout September. Yeah, good time to do that. And then also Neptune retrograde will be opposite the sun and moon during this new moon. And the last thing I want to mention is that Mars will oppose Chiron retrograde. So Mars and Chiron they'll get closer together as the days go on. Then there will also be that sextile between Mars and Venus and Juno. And of course, the Aries will be at 29 degrees. So its final degree there in Libra before entering Scorpio just a short while later. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to remind you about, what do new moons represent, and just, looking at the degrees and looking at the sign and its keywords. So new moons, of course, look at fresh perspectives, fresh starts. We plant new seeds. Okay, it's a good time to really get quiet with ourselves, to consider what new intentions we would like to set, especially with respect to the Virgo keywords, the Virgo qualities that we're going to describe in a moment. So this does look at the start of a new cycle. This could even be the transition within a cycle. Amplified feelings are also likely. Okay, depending on the sign, of course. And we can also be somewhat more sensitive, okay? Not just emotionally, but just, sensitive to our surroundings. Even thinking about Virgo, thinking about perhaps sensitive in terms of our bodies. Now, this new moon then will take place at 21 degrees. So this equates to the number 3 in numerology. So the number 3 tied to things like problem solving, very, very Virgo, being informative, knowledgeable, being flexible, versatile. Creativity is a big part of the number 3. Having a vision, being successful, having many ideas. Hi, Virgo. I mean, it's just such a mercurial feel to it, though I'm pretty sure Jupiter is tied to the number 3 in numerology. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. But I do feel that the number 3, to me, it screams Mercury as well. You even think about the order of, the sun, moon, moon, sun, moon, and then Mercury as well would be that number 3. Also, I just want to add in terms of decans. So this new moon will fall within the Virgo Taurus decan. So I would say that this new moon also has these elements to do with pleasure, to do with our values, exploring our value system, taking time to ourselves to experience greater calm, greater ease, greater feelings of contentment. What is it that centers you? What is it that grounds you? So Virgo keywords. We actually talked about Virgo, the archetype of Virgo, in a recent video. And if you want to check that out, you can do so. It's currently up on the channel. But Virgo is largely about systems. Okay, having a system. Virgo can be highly strategic, practical, hands-on, dutiful. Virgo seems to always have a plan, but of course, Virgo also understands that that plan is subject to change. And there is that flexibility that can come with Virgo energy. The flexibility can also come with stress and worry and unease. And I think a lot of the times Virgo is learning how to experience greater equilibrium from within, greater ease from within, especially because Virgo can be such a nervous, tense, anxious energy. So being able to bring awareness to times when we are overwhelmed, overworked, too much going on. I just want to say hello to everyone else who is joining the chat. Hello, welcome to this live. Yes, hello to Auracon. You've got a Virgo moon as well. Hello, Morg. How are you? Welcome. And then Auracon, you also said that you have lots of Mercury energy as well. Yeah, I would say I'm very similar. Mercury is actually my most dominant planet in my chart. And Virgo Facts. Virgo Facts, you said thank you. Welcome, Virgo Facts. Just welcome, everyone. Yeah, I hope you do enjoy this presentation today. So, yes, as I say, Virgo is very systematic. And I think what Virgo is striving to sort of obtain in life is knowing how to ground itself. There's always this tug of war within Virgo. You know, you think about the mind and how Virgo is ruled by Mercury, but then you also think about how it's an earth sign. So that's more about stability, that's more about grounding yourself in the physical and even looking at more sensuality. You know, Virgo can be a highly sensual sign, but as I say with the Mercury feel coming in, it can perhaps suggest that Virgo is often having to learn to not be so heady. Okay, always up in the mind, always analyzing. Of course, these things can be useful. It's useful to be able to analyze, to be able to use discernment, to be logical, to be rational, to have a level head between your shoulders, you know, to really make sensible decisions. These things can be so impactful in our lives. But the times whenever, you know, we're overthinking, we're ruminating, we're stressing out, we're saying yes to things constantly, and we're having to help other people, and then we're not really considering how am I feeling, like my body, what's going on in my body. So there's always this thing of like having to come from the head and into the body. So I think that with this new moon in Virgo, it speaks to this a lot. Because this is also the moon, right? The moon is more about our emotions. The moon looks at how we're really feeling inwardly, okay, on an internal level. So I think this is good opportunity. And do you know what? Following on from this, let's even just consider the bigger picture of this. Let's consider how over the past couple months, even from spring, so what happened in spring? So, right, let's pull this back a little bit, and I may be going on a little bit, but I'm saying this because I want to share the bigger picture. If we go back to spring, and we think about how we were we were slowly coming out of a huge retrograde, and that was Mars retrograde. Mars was retrograde in Gemini, right? Another Mercury ruled sign. And that was a long period of time. You know, there was so the period of Mars being in Gemini was for 7 months. So that was from August up until I believe March. Then there was the retrograde for 2 or so months. I could be wrong, but you know, it's yeah, about that. So I think that was from the end of October up until January. So that was the Mars retrograde in Gemini. But that was a really long transit if you think about it. Of course, those Mars retrogrades can point toward that. So a lot of mental energy. But then, as we were coming away from that, and we then came into March, all right, we were approaching the astrological new year. There was I think it was the full moon in Virgo. There was a full moon in Virgo. I think that was on the 7th of March. And then Saturn entered Pisces. And then we experienced as well Mars entering Cancer around that time period after being in Gemini for so long. So we were going from what feels like so much like mental energy, and perhaps a lot of us experiencing mental fatigue, to then the emotional body. And then also with Saturn, especially entering Pisces, it's like us having to revisit our emotional boundaries, what we can physically tolerate emotionally, you know, having to consider what it is that we need emotionally and how it is that we project our own emotions, and being able to own them. There's a great deal of projection involved with Saturn being in Pisces, of course, and having to, you know, take back what is yours, bringing awareness to times whenever we project. So, anyway, there was that shift. But then, not only that, Pluto entered Aquarius. And that was the first time in what, 15 years or so that it's like a, it's like we can feel what's coming. There's a sense of what's next. And we're going to get into this more as this presentation goes on. But that was the first taste, I suppose you could say, of Pluto being in Aquarius. And maybe I'm saying this because I am an Aquarius and I have Aquarius planets, but that was quite jarring, and that was quite like, oh, so this isn't working then. So this isn't the direction then. Oh, so this is the surprise. It's surprising that the Aquarius energy is the type of energy that will surprise you, and you can plan your life to a T. Like, I'm going to have this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to have this. But the Aquarius energy comes along and goes, well, just throws it up in the air and kind of goes, well, have you thought of a different way? So basically shaking things up. And things have been shaken up, so to speak. I'm getting this image of like loads of toys in a bag, and you're just like shaking it really, really hard. But yeah, shaking things up, coming into spring. And what else happened? Springtime. There was Saturn, there was Pluto, there was Mars, all within a pretty short period of time. Oh, and there was also the solar eclipse in Aries, 29 degrees. Yeah. Uh, we're also going to be approaching this full moon in Aries coming up. But anyway, there was the solar eclipse in Aries. And there was also the Mercury retrograde in Taurus, just at the beginning of Taurus season. And with Jupiter as well. Jupiter entered Taurus. And what happened to Jupiter is Jupiter made a square to Pluto. Also made a square to Pluto retrograde, but because at the time, Pluto was even moving backward with, well, not literally, but yeah, there was the retrograde in Aquarius. And so there was the square to Jupiter, and then the opposition between Pluto and Mars. So there's the T square going on between the fixed signs. And then there was even a grand cross because all the fixed signs were involved because of the North Node and the South Node being in Taurus and Scorpio. So what does this all mean, like, collectively? How do I break this down in simple terms? Basically, things just have not been going according to plan, like almost all year. Okay? And that can be in a beneficial way for some of us, and that can be in a really frustrating way for others of us, or that can be in a really like, aha, I get it. I get it. I need to change something. Here I am and I'm trying to force things to happen. But really, I need to change something about how I'm doing, like something about me. What am I not seeing? What have I not been seeing for so long? And what can I change about myself? What can I change about my approach to the world? How I see myself, how I see others. And then what comes along is, all these retrogrades, right? We had Pluto, which started to retrograde. Then we had, I think it was either Saturn or Neptune in that order. But Saturn and Neptune, there they go. and then we had Venus. Okay, Venus and Leo. Then we had Mercury. And then we recently had Uranus. And now Jupiter too. All of them. So what is this all to say then as well? I think that, okay, spring to summer was sort of like, oh my gosh, right, this is really frustrating. This is like my stress levels, like the pressure I'm feeling right now. But the retrogrades come along and helped us be able to go inward and to reflect and think about what we can do differently, what we can change about ourselves so that we can move forward in the next couple of months. Everything's going to start to go direct again, and we're going to come into 2024, and hopefully we'll be a little bit more prepared for Pluto re-entering Aquarius. But then again, you always have to expect the unexpected when it comes to Aquarius. But I digress. Essentially, so much here to do with our own inner authority. So, Virgo, let's think about the new moon in Virgo. Bring it back to this. You consider how the full moon in Virgo, like I was saying earlier, the full moon in Virgo was happening, and that was in March. And that kind of kickstarted all of this. So, this new moon in Virgo, I think it's sort of like looking at, okay, it's time to maybe close a chapter. It's maybe time to finalize a few things. Even think about Mercury retrograde as well, still being in Virgo. It's time to, you know, reassess what has happened. Like, really, literally look back at the past 6 months. March to September. What's actually, what, 8 months? Still. Yeah, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Those seven-ish months. Anyway, you get my point, right? Just look back, really reflect, see, like, you know, what is it that you wish to change so that you can live a life where you feel more healthy, you feel more grounded, you can make decisions from a place of ease, from a place of calm. And I think this new moon in Virgo is such a good opportunity for us to really plant those seeds then moving forward. Keep in mind that after the eclipses happen in both Aries and Libra over the next 18 months or so, a couple of years or so, then the eclipses are going to start to happen in Virgo and Pisces, because the North Node will enter Pisces then as well after the North Node has been in Aries. So I think there's a lot of cleansing going on here. There's a lot of like getting rid of what is not working, what's not working. And I'm going to be authentic. I'm going to be drawing from my own experience in this and say that what I've had to really come to learn, especially over the summer, is that I work too much. And I don't have anybody else to blame but myself. Because I'm self employed. I'm the one who calls the shots when it comes to work. I make it, I make those tasks. So, I think for me anyway, coming up to this new moon, I want to set intentions where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have days off. I am going to have days off a week. And and that's a beneficial thing. That is a beneficial thing. So maybe you can hear this information and maybe you can resonate in some way within your own life. Now, the other thing I just want to say with this, then, with the new moon being in Virgo, is, consider devotion and dedication and service and assisting and supporting and helping other people. Consider even the work that you do and the people in your life and how you assist them and you show your support toward them. And, this isn't necessarily about completely changing these things, but I think the new moon in Virgo can help assist us in terms of really going inward and trying to reflect upon how can I also make time for myself? How can I make time for myself as well? How can I look after this vessel, this body? Because, when you really think about it, your health, if you don't have your health, you can't be there to support other people. You can't turn up to work. What use is it what use is it to, to constantly push and push and push, and then to what? Become burnt out, to then become overwhelmed, to then become ill, you know? So, yeah, I think this is so much about health. And I know that that may sound, you know, disconnected a little bit in terms of, because you have to be practical, right? You have to think about, people with large families and people who are working really hard in order to provide. And you have to think about, the prices of things today with inflation. And it's, yeah, the system, how things are set up, it's not a fair system. So I think the new moon in Virgo is speaking to the part of us that can bring it back to ourselves. Keep in mind that this is still a personal sign. And Virgo is very much about teaching us to prepare the vessel, to nurture our bodies, to give it what it needs, to fuel it with good things, to consider our energy. Whenever we can step away from the constant like picking at ourselves and being super critical of ourselves, and actually, tone that down a little bit. Maybe Saturn in Pisces is teaching us this. A little bit of compassion. And I know it's said so often, isn't it? I mean, I was in this could be a bit of a ramble around, but I was in the shop the other day. It's a local, it's like, well, you get a few of these shops around the UK and Ireland, but I saw t-shirts and it's just like something about being kind and stuff like that. And I thought, yes, that's a lovely message. But then I also kind of thought, like, is that message just being said because that's where the money is, or that's what's selling right now? And yeah. But anyway, the whole point of me saying this is like really think about that. Like think about how being compassionate and showing yourself kindness, how that resonates with you as an individual. And to reflect then within your own life about it. So all of this is to say, new moon in Virgo perhaps can bring up these thoughts, these feelings. So let's then continue this. Let's continue this by assessing what's going to come up ahead. So there's going to be the first quarter moon in Virgo, June 2024. So around that time, it could be that the intentions we set to do with these Virgo themes, they are challenged in some ways, or it's that we have to make a few adjustments. Okay, all right. But then there will be a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, March 2025. This is what I'm saying. The eclipses are going to start to move in the next couple of years or so. We're having these big changes here to do with Pisces. Pisces is going through a lot. And then, of course, with the opposite sign being Virgo. So yeah, that full moon lunar eclipse is going to be such a release. I think that's going to be a very, very powerful one for us collectively in terms of our health, in terms of our well-being, in terms of service, what we do, in terms of our work. And that's not just working outside of the home, but the tasks and responsibilities that we have within the home. Then the third quarter moon will happen December 2025, so at the end of that year. And then that's when this is a time period to, again, reconsider, readjust a few matters. So we'll talk more about this process as the time goes on, of course, but I just wanted to make you aware of what's up ahead. As you can probably tell, I like to go back in time. I like to go into the future. I like to kind of see, right, where are we coming from, but also where are we headed? So ask yourself, what have you been cleaning up during this new moon? What have you been cleaning up? I just want to stop and answer a question. And I hope I am pronouncing your name correctly. Nairi? Yes, I do personal readings. You can go to hannahselsewhere.com for personal readings. I'm pretty sure I've seen you comment before. Pisces. I think you said you're a Pisces. Your sun is in Pisces. But welcome. Welcome to you. I hope you're well. And also, you know what? I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to have a look. Yeah. Oh, you say you're from Australia. Hello, Kelly, as well. Welcome. Yeah, Eddie, this year has been crazy. You've got an Aquarius moon as well. Otakon, you've got an Aquarius rising. Okay. Right, so I'm going to continue. And also, hi, Alexander. I hope you're doing good. Welcome. So what have you been cleaning up? And what intentions will you be setting then when it comes to cleaning up, so to speak? And I say cleaning up, this isn't just about, making sure that your house is clean and doing some dusting and hoovering the floor and washing the dishes and creating a clean space, a clean environment. Of course, it can be that. But this is also about, looking at your body. Okay. How are you looking after your body? How are you looking after your mind? Also, thinking about any problems, any problems, any issues, anything you need to fix, anything you would like to fix, anything you would like to reorganize. Mercury retrograde has been amazing for this. Cleaning up your finances, reorganizing all those little tasks, getting a new timetable set out. That's what I've done during this Mercury retrograde. I've completely restructured my timetable. Huge focus here on our habits and our rituals. What must be shifted? And this leads me on to something that is talked about within the human design community. I do not consider myself to be part of the human design community, but I'm very interested in it. I'm very interested in it. And the thing about the human design community is they talk about the new paradigm. Apparently, they talk about this new paradigm. This is a prophecy by Ra-Uru-Hu. Sorry about pronunciations, but I'm pretty sure that Ra-Uru-Hu is the one who, designed human design or invented it. Yeah. But yes, basically, the new paradigm is said to be coming in 2027. So looking at this transition. And as I say, I do not know very much about this. And so what I'm saying here, do not take my words as fact, as truth. Look into this for yourself. But my understanding of this is that we are slowly but surely moving into a world where it isn't so much about hustle, 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 work, 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 do, do, do. It's also about inviting greater space for ease and flow and regulation and listening to our intuition and looking at guidance. Projector. So I'm supposed to guide, as it's said. I'm supposed to be someone who guides. Anyway, I just wanted to share that because I think what is being said within the human design community, this is just a thought of mine. I think it aligns actually with the astrology. I think it does. I think that with all of the Pisces energy coming up and even happening right now, I think it's suggesting this sort of cleanse, like a getting rid of what isn't serving us, especially with Virgo there as well. Okay, going back to Virgo, we talked about Virgo in the Virgo archetype video, where Virgo really sits and sorts out what is and isn't working, what's good, what's useful, but what can be shifted so that things can be better. So in 2025, the nodes are going to change into Pisces and Virgo. Okay, and like I said, that new paradigm, that is supposed to be starting around 2027. And then also Saturn and Neptune will be in Aries from 2025 2026. There will be a little bit of it, a taster of it in 2025, but then from 2026 onwards, Saturn and Neptune in Aries is going to be a very huge shift collectively, okay? Especially even with Uranus entering Gemini as well, and Pluto being in Aquarius. Big changes are coming, like huge, huge changes. And I will talk more in detail because that's a very broad statement, like huge change is coming, very vague, but it's something that I can talk more in detail about, closer to the time in different videos. There's going to be a lot of new information coming. Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that because we do seem to be on the cusp, if you will, of something very new. A new vision, a new way of living, a new way of existing. Right, so like I said, the sun and moon will make a trine to Uranus retrograde. This is going to be the strongest aspect. So during this new moon, consider, how would you like to reinvent yourself? How would you like to reinvent yourself with respect to, your body, things we've been talking about so far? Even consider any schedules, habits, routines, rituals. And I suppose the other thing about this is something I didn't mention in the Virgo archetype video is self-care. how Virgo is largely tied to self-care. And that, I suppose, ties in with the health piece. But yeah, maybe you could think about how it is that you would like to reinvent yourself with respect to self-care. Even something small. I'll share from my own life. Just to give an example, I would like to, whenever I want to just paint my nails, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to take time to paint my nails. I used to, this is kind of silly, but I used to, before I left the house, to go out with friends or just go out wherever, I would leave it 5 minutes before. Just say, oh yeah, just paint my nails just 5 minutes before I need to go. So I would be like sitting, blowing my nails. Perhaps that's very Aries moon, just like rushing about. But anyway, just blowing my nails, trying to get them dry. They weren't dry. They were not dry. But it was the rushing part, I think. I was just rushing through, right? Just get them done. I'm in a rush. Bye. But I actually want to slow that way down and think about being intentional, to be more intentional about just something as small as painting my nails. And that is a form of self-care. To be able to set time aside and go, I don't have anywhere to be. I don't need to rush through this. This is time for me to do this. So that's just something, as I say, really small. And then, well, I suppose Mercury retrograde in Virgo, it does look at the smaller things and those smaller details, or something that's perhaps quite minor, but it can go a long way. Anyway, Pluto retrograde as well. What is being transformed in your life? What has transformed? Keep in mind that Pluto is only going to be in Capricorn for a short period of time before it officially moves into Aquarius. So Pluto's going to enter Aquarius beginning 2024. Then it's going to go back into Capricorn for, I think, like 2 months or something like that. And then that's it. It's gone. So yeah, and there's something that I mentioned in a post. You know what? Just go to my community tab and read the daily horoscope there, and you'll see what I want to say. I want to try and keep things moving along so that we're on schedule, we're on time today. Right. So Neptune retrograde as well. Think then about, with the opposition, the loss of your identity as you know it. Can you let go? Can you just be? Does it feel comfortable just to not be busy? Does it feel comfortable just to maybe chill? Do you ever notice just how challenging it can be to not be constantly thinking about, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this? It makes me think of the reels where it shows, gamers when they're younger. Even when I reflect on this, where you're playing a video game and you're so in it, you're having fun, you're being creative, you're just flowing. You're not really thinking about, oh, I have to do the dishes, or I have to go to work soon, or I have to go walk the dog, or, whatever. But when you're older, it transitioned then to the gamer when they're in their 30s. And then it's just the thoughts just swirling around in their head. Like, I have to do this, I have to do this. Oh, you're a failure. You're not doing anything. You're really lazy. All of those negative thoughts, like, you need to be doing something. You need to be doing something. So I think this is perhaps suggesting the part of us that can just be, the part of us that can just be and actually can tell that voice, shut up. Actually, my psychotherapist has really helped with that. Yeah. Being able to tell that inner critic, shut up. Just shut up. You don't belong here. Okay? You don't even go to this school. Anyway. So yes, pouring into your emotional body. I just think that this new moon is going to be so much about these feelings and these thoughts. All right, so let's move on. And I also want to say hello, creator. Hi, welcome to you. Raising Vibrations with Simon on YouTube. I've heard of Simon from Raising Vibrations. Great channel. Very cool stuff. Yeah, just getting around to watching others. But yeah, I'm sure his information is really good, like very, very knowledgeable. I'm pretty sure he's an evolutionary astrologer. And Helen, he said relationships, more movement on water, and lots of material stuff after a move to a bigger place. You want less with more substance. Yeah, substance. I love that word, substance. And just even with more movement on water, water is a big importance. Making more space for ease and flow. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Okay, so Mercury retrograde will also oppose Saturn retrograde, and then it will trine Jupiter retrograde. Right, so Mercury retrograde has been happening since the beginning of Virgo season. So it's going from 21 degrees to 8 degrees. So think about any Virgo placements you have around these degrees, because with Mercury being there, it's going to impact you the most. Then we think about here Mercury turning direct 19 hours after the new moon. So really, here we go again, just the synchronicities. Just take some time then to really reflect during this new moon. Try and not overthink it. I think this has been a big part of this Mercury retrograde. Have you noticed ruminating thoughts? The thoughts where you're just spiraling, you're looping, you're reading too much into things. Overthinking, I think, has been a big piece to this Mercury retrograde, and the importance of actually being able to stop it in its tracks. And bringing awareness to those times, I know, can be really, really hard. But, maybe even like saying something out loud, or just reminding yourself to check in with yourself every now and then to think, oh, am I reading too much into this? So yeah, overthinking. And this is why the Mercury retrograde can be helpful, because it can help us reassess any times when we overthink. And this is also a good opportunity then to think about what we've been doing well during the retrograde. What have you learned about yourself? What has come up for you? Even with Venus retrograde as well. Venus is still in its shadow period, its post shadow period. This new moon can invite a time to just reflect, to go over what it is that you've learned, journal, meditate, get outdoors, connect with your body, think truly about what your body needs, and recognize the power of waiting and receiving. I think a lot of the times we're taught that if you just work hard, if you just keep your head down, then you're going to get more in life, or you're going to do better in life, etc. But what if, we could switch the dialogue a little bit, and what if we could, ask ourselves, well, what if there was another way? What if it is that we could be somewhat more patient and be more willing to allow for things to unfold as they should, without forcing, like aggressively forcing. Kelly, you said waiting is the hardest part, something you're learning to get better at. Yeah, it is. It's hard. It's really hard, especially if it is that, you need to pay bills. Like, this is not just this isn't just a black and white thing. And I think it's not just a matter of a switch, right? Where you go, oh, I'm going to do that. And then you just do it. I'm going to be honest. I've known about being a projector, again, looking at human design, but I've known about it for years. But I, to be honest, I've just still been doing the same kind of stuff, in terms of, right, yep, I'm going to continue to work. I'm going to continue to create, because I love it so much. I love it so much. But I want to properly experiment with it, and I want to properly devote myself to waiting and trusting. But like I said, it can be really challenging, especially if it is, if you're someone and maybe you've lost your job, or maybe your relationship has fallen apart, or you feel disconnected from your family, or you had a childhood that was really, really difficult. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's not just this straightforward black and white thing, and everyone's going to be different. And you have to think about what I'm saying within the context of your own life and the little things that you can do. Think about what you can do, what is possible for you. I'm not just sitting here going, just wait, or, um, saying that it's a straightforward thing. Basically, I do empathize with everybody's personal experience. And that's also why I like to share my own experiences, because that's all I really know, right? Yeah, but anyway, Jupiter retrograde making the trine to the new moon also highlights counting your blessings. What are you grateful for? I'm going to share something, right? I'm going to share something. This is, oh, I'm getting all excited. Just because so much has changed, my gosh. But I am finally going to do gratitude writing, journaling. Okay, I'm doing it. Uh, I, it's so funny. Like, I find out about things, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that sounds really interesting. I'm going to try that. And then I'll experiment with it. And then I kind of think, I don't know. I don't know. And then I'm kind of skeptical of it, or I question it, or I read too much into it. But now I'm here again. So I learned about gratitude and everything years ago again. Um, but I want to now. I feel like I'm ready. I'm ready to just start being more grateful, like journaling, trying to do it every day. And this isn't just to go into all the details of journaling. This is just to simply write a couple of sentences. I am thankful for. I am blessed because of, or um I am thinking about such and such, I bless them, or I wish them the best, or just little things like that. And I just want to do that, not just because but basically it's because I want to do it as a way to feel more content with what I already have. And I want to just start being more thankful for what I have. And maybe Jupiter retrograde has been highlighting this, and it will continue to highlight this for us. So consider too, what have you hoped for and what has come true for you? What have you gained even through from spring? Even in the challenging times, the difficult times, we can grow so much, we can learn so much. It just can feel a bit more difficult, because I think whenever we're in a difficult place, a challenging place where things aren't going so um they're not going according to plan, they're not going as we expect, it can almost feel like there's a darker cloud over us and we don't recognize the good things, you know? So perhaps this is a new moon of clarity in this way, in terms of, right, okay, well, what have I really learned, and how am I blessed? And I just want to read through a couple more. Odekin, you said you got a few blessings this year. Good, good. Patricia, you said doing more for others and your self-discipline ship. Disciplining yourself then. That's good. Your body needs private pool villa for 2 months at least. I feel you. Just go on holiday for 2 months a year. Eddie, you said you're graduating this year. Oh wow, congratulations, Eddie. That's so good. What are you graduating in? Like, what's the subject? That's so good. Celebrations are in order. So yes, ease, mindfulness, spiritual growth, healing. What has the summer taught you? What did you reorganize? What did you recalculate? Any outdated systems? It's also not long until Pluto turns direct. And then from there, it's going to be Saturn. I think it's Saturn first, and then Neptune. Either Neptune or Saturn first. But anyway, they're going to start all turning direct toward the end of the year. So, all right. So Jupiter retrograde will also square Juno and Venus, and then Mars will sextile Juno and Venus. So the Jupiter retrograde square Juno is the strongest. This is actually the strongest aspect then, because they're both 15 degrees, I believe. Yeah, they're both 15 degrees. So what were your desires? How were your desires challenged during the summer? Were you patient? Did you overcommit? Did you clear up a few matters to do with overcommitment? Gosh, I feel like I'm speaking to myself. Yeah, think about these things. And then with Virgo season, this is about preparing your vessel. Okay. This is about looking after yourself. How are you not looking after yourself? How can you give more to yourself? And then processing what we have learned from Venus retrograde, remaining centered, grounded, trying our best to anyway. This is taking a greater look at the bigger picture. And then with even Mars there, beauty, the sextile, sorry, to Venus and Juno, beauty, love, kindness, self-acceptance, being polite, being cooperative. How do you shine? How do you glow now that Venus is direct? Post retrograde, how are you glowing? How are you shining? What contracts are being signed now? What agreements are being made? But of course, we're still in the post shadow period, but maybe you can sense that, right, something is on the horizon, something's coming. And you're just like, you know what, I'm chilling for now. I'm chilling for now. Just gonna focus on what is working, and then the other things will fall into place soon enough. Okay, just having that trust. But yeah, are there any sort of settlements? Are there any other sort of agreements going on for you? Finances, getting them in order. And then I've also said above there, ready to build again. Ready to build again. This is a possibility. But then again, for others of us, it could still be where it's still not quite aligned yet. And that's okay, and maybe there's still a few matters that need to be organized behind the scenes, other bigger themes at play going on with that Jupiter retrograde energy. But with that being said, try and not fall for empty promises. Try to not make decisions out of like stress, worry, fear. Right? Try and make decisions from a place of calm and rationale. And then what we have here is Mars opposite Chiron retrograde, and then Ceres at 29 degrees. So Mars is moving closer and closer to Chiron retrograde. It'll be the strongest by the time Libra season begins. So hold your own, protect yourself, stand for justice, truth, honesty, take some pressure off by even leaning on others, turning toward people you can trust. Mars is in the opposite sign that it rules. It's in detriment. So Mars is in detriment when it's in Libra. So consider, with the opposition, how have you been wounded by other people's selfishness? But equally, how can you integrate the part of you that can put your needs first? Right? How can you put your needs first? And this is not to be mistaken for being insensitive, rude, disrespectful, self-centered. Of course, Libra season welcomes balance. And I think a lot of this is leading up to balance. Even Mars being in Libra right now is highlighting greater balance for many of us, which perhaps we've needed to mellow us out a little bit this year. And then, of course, Ceres at 29 degrees before entering Scorpio 11 hours later. So then with that, ask yourself, is there anything you have learned about secure attachment within relationships? Okay. Secure attachment, and especially thinking about me and versus you. This is where I'm at. This is where you're at. Looking at partnership, looking at healthy give and take. And then the last part of this, before we get into your horoscopes. Hello, Rena. Welcome. Welcome. Hope you're doing good. Okay, the last part of this we're going to get into is we're going to look at the asteroids a little bit. So like I said, Vesta will be at 0 degrees and then Pallas will be at 0 degrees. So Vesta is the goddess of hearth, creating tension with Pallas, the goddess of war. Vesta takes on a comforting and nurturing role, whilst Pallas takes on a refined and sociable role. Okay, when we can get these two asteroids sort of working together on the same team, of course, miracles can happen, right? We can look at good relationships, partnerships, being nurturing and kind and supportive within our relationships. And this could also be where there are some tensions and clashes, right? Home versus relational clashes, emotional versus logical resistance and clashes. But still, there is the ability to share what we care about without disregarding other people. We can hold space for other people. We can support one another with care and fairness rather than denying our feelings or forcing them on others and being judgmental as well whenever we don't get the response we want or because something is not familiar to us, where we can judge other people perhaps unfairly. But then you see Saturn retrograde does trine Vesta during this new moon. So this adds a layer of mature emotional understanding during this new moon. So yeah, I would say that these are also different themes that will be playing out as we start to approach this new moon in Virgo come the 14th of September. All right, so we're going to move on to horoscopes. I hope you are enjoying this presentation so far today. Thank you so much for being here. Teresa, welcome. Meditate on tour plans and see if you get a result or thought. Oh, I think you're speaking to, is it another viewer? Yeah. Yeah, so that's us so far. I'm just going to have some water. Oh, that's very squeaky. Good, I'm glad. Kelly, you said this is your first one, your first live? Oh, cool. And you're loving it. Good. I'm glad. Of course, yes, I love doing these lives. I really enjoy breaking down the aspects. I just love honing in on little areas, little details within the chart and talking about them. And Otakon, you say you've enjoyed it so far. Great. Okay. Nairi, you said you have Aries and you have Chiron and Aries. So are you going through your Chiron return then? You've not been very positive since Sinead O'Connor passed away. Oh, hello, morning. Yeah, it's really devastating what happened to Sinead O'Connor. Sinead O'Connor, of course, I have no idea about her life, but from what I've seen, it's very tragic. With what happened to her son and just the challenges she faced. Yeah, it's hard. Nairi, yeah, you said you have your Chiron is in Aries in your natal chart, I'm assuming. So, yeah, I'm thinking you may be going through a Chiron return right now. Anyway, right, so let's get into your horoscopes. Horoscope time. Okay. So it's very, very warm. It's very warm. All right. So firstly, Aries. So Aries, this new moon will be happening in your 6th house. Okay, so let's think here, Aries, about Mercury retrograde being in the 6th house for you. We've talked about this already, but there's been a lot going on for you, okay, where you've been reestablishing yourself with respect to your services, the work you do, how you organize, how you structure your time, looking at schedules, looking at your daily responsibilities, what you're obligated to do versus what you're not obligated to do, taking care of your health. A lot going on, right? Especially throughout Virgo season. There's been a lot going on. But you see, with the new moon happening here, this is a good opportunity for you to set new intentions. Use what you've learned from Mercury retrograde in this 6th house for you since the 23rd of August. Even before that, right? I think Mercury entered Virgo around the 8th of August. And so just use what you've been learning here throughout the summer and then set new intentions based upon what you would like to change. I think this is a big theme for all signs, if you think about it, because this Mercury retrograde has been happening. So yeah, use what you've learned and maybe apply what's come up for you. And then you can set those new intentions where it's like, right, okay, I'm going to set new intentions to do with my health. I'm going to make a conscious effort here moving forward. I'm going to really think about and reflect upon what it is that I need physically, emotionally, mentally. What do I need? And, it could also be that you plant new seeds with respect to the services that you provide, or with respect to hygiene and cleanliness, having a routine, a new routine. Taurus. So, Taurus, this new moon will be happening in your fifth house. So, let's think about Mercury retrograde in your fifth house. Let's think about the past few weeks and what has come up for you with respect to love, romance, enjoyment, pleasure, play, fun. What does your heart desire, Taurus? And perhaps it is that you've been making more time for yourself in this respect, right? More time off, perhaps, has come up for you. Or you've been rethinking, maybe I would like to take some time off. Maybe I would like a break. Or, it could be that you've been revisiting old discussions with certain romantic partners, or it's that you have been reviewing the ways in which you have fun, the ways in which you enjoy yourself, the ways in which you spend your time off. And so there's been some reorganizing going on, right? Shifting things about. And therefore, with the new moon happening in your fifth house here, what a good time to set new intentions, right? It's a good time to plant new seeds. It's a good time to think about, what have I learned whilst Mercury's been retrograde? What's come up for me? And how would I like to move forward, with greater intention, with greater ease, with greater curiosity, with greater intrigue? And how can I apply these things practically? What can I do moving forward practically? What works for me? My ego, right? Fifth house, ego, me. There's so much here about your individuality and the ways in which you express yourself. So, new intentions with respect to these things. Gemini. Okay, Gemini. So this new moon is going to happen in your fourth house. So let's think about the last few weeks for you with Mercury retrograde in your fourth house and how you've been revisiting certain family-related discussions, how it is that you've been rethinking structures and plans and systems when it comes to your home. Maybe some refurbishment has been going on. Maybe some neighbors have been getting in the way. Maybe there's something coming up here to do with relocating, right? House matters. Possibly relocating to a different area, different neighborhood. Or another possibility here is that perhaps you have been revising, or you've been rethinking the ways in which you take care of your mental health and how that's very much tied in with your emotional body, your emotional needs, creating new habits, okay? Maybe this new moon in Virgo will be a good opportunity for you to set those intentions to do with new healthy habits. Like, for example, right, something as small as being able to turn off your phone before the end of the day, where you can switch it off maybe 7 p.m. before you go to bed. Or being able to put your phone to the side and say, I don't have to reply to that right now. It can wait. Just something as small as that. So I think there's just been a big focus here upon the ways in which you take care of yourself emotionally. And this will also be amplified and highlighted with the new moon happening in your fourth house as well. Though, just one more quick thing here for you, Gemini. Perhaps it's that this Mercury retrograde has brought up a lot to do with property or housing, certain contracts you're waiting to have signed, certain agreements waiting to be done, these types of areas. And so, it could even be that the new moon in Virgo highlights what it is that you would like to communicate or express or share moving forward. And even just knowing what it is that you're capable of. It could even be here that it's something work related, right? It's something work related happening that's been disrupting the home life, the family life for you. And so you're really having to just plant new seeds then moving forward. It's like, you know what, this is what I prefer, or this is the type of role that I wish to fill. This is how I wish to be recognized for my efforts moving forward. Cancer. Okay, so for you, Cancer, this new moon is going to happen in your 3rd house. So when we think about how Mercury has been retrograde in this 3rd house for you for the past few weeks, I think that, well, let's think about neighborhoods for a moment, right? The 3rd house can be tied to neighborhoods. The 3rd house can be tied to our local area, our local city. You're another sign that perhaps moving has been on your mind, or it's been happening, or you've been waiting for certain people involved to get moving, right? You've been in that space, maybe this in-between place. You've been transitioning from one area to another area, from one apartment to another apartment. Or it's that you've been waiting for all these documents to be signed with respect to your car, right? Thinking about transportation here tied to the 3rd house as well. Even thinking about short distance trips. Anything broken down for you recently, Cancer? Anything a bit frustrating when it comes to short trips? Getting the bus, for example, getting the bus home from work, going to a certain holiday home, and then the trip there is just a nightmare, anything just a bit frustrating. But you see, this has also been an opportunity for you to re-strategize, to reconsider, and to even practice patience here, to practice patience and to practice the whole stuff that we've been talking about in terms of, right, just let that stuff, let it go, let it unfold as it should. But you see, the new moon here in Virgo on the 14th of September welcomes new intentions, a new way forward. Perhaps it starts with your mind. Perhaps it starts with your mental well-being, your mental awareness. Perhaps it starts with you being able to recognize, I'm overthinking. I'm reading too much into this. I'm going on and 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 on about the same thing. Maybe I need to stop. Maybe I need to look after myself here and reconsider a few matters. Leo. Okay, so Leo, this new moon is going to happen in your 2nd house. All right, so for you, Leo, with Mercury retrograde being in your 2nd house over the past few weeks, thinking about Virgo season, even, you have been on it, I think, when it comes to how you earn money, when it comes to the type of money you would like to earn. Even think about Venus, right? You were the star. You really were, Leo. You were the star with Venus retrograde. Venus was in your 1st house. That's a big deal. 1st house tied to your identity, your sense of self, your purpose, your life path, all of it. So I think with Mercury retrograde, I think it's been speaking a lot to how it is that you sustain yourself, how it is that you support yourself, how it is that you support your loved ones. So yes, your earnings, also your spending habits, your expenses, your income, all the stuff related to finances here, and how you've been revisiting these matters over the past few weeks. But then this is also about refining your skills. This is also about improving upon your skills. This is also about appreciating the things that you're good at. Seeing, you know what, this is my strength. I'm really good at this. And of course, with Virgo in the 2nd house, Leo, perhaps your skills involve the likes of organization, being practical, being matter of fact, being systematic, having a certain way of doing things, right? Creating order. I imagine a person who has, the label guns. Is it a label gun or a label device? I'm not quite sure, but I imagine you with one of those, Leo. You're just like tagging all of your foods, all of your products in your home. So yeah, orderly, neat, hygiene, being hygienic. So essentially, this is all to say here, Leo, that I think this new moon is going to welcome new intentions with respect to your skills, your talents, with respect to your earnings, your spendings, how you budget, how you categorize, how you organize. And of course, the thing about you is that you value these Virgo qualities very much with Virgo in the second house. Virgo. Okay, Virgo. So this is your new moon, right? This is happening in your sign, in your first house. And Mercury retrograde has been happening in your sign. So, yeah, Mercury's been in your sign from around the beginning of August. So, I think when we reflect upon you, there has been so much that you've been revising with respect to your life path, really thinking about, what do I want out of life? Like, what is my path? What is my direction? Where am I headed? How does that speak to who I am? How does that speak to my identity? This could be where you feel like you need to revamp something about your wardrobe, about your appearance. This could be where you have been reassessing any critical thoughts. Of course, this is you, Virgo. You're that type of person who is prone to standing in front of the mirror and picking yourself apart and seeing all the imperfections and being hard on yourself, basically, or going over conversations, or what I visualize is you lying in bed and getting this like memory to do with 20 years ago, right? Like you just get this memory of, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that whenever I was 5. Oh, why did I do that? That's the energy that I get. That's what I visualize when I think of you. And you just cringe, or you just like tense up. But this is the thing. Mercury retrograde, I think, has been a good opportunity for you to rewire the ways in which you think, rewiring your brain, thinking here about the thoughts that are continuously looping in your mind and how you can redirect them in some way, and so that you can experience like much healthier thoughts about yourself, about the world around you, thinking about how you can judge yourself harshly, you can judge other people harshly. But you see, this new moon then in your sign is going to highlight a good time period or a good opportunity for you to, again, set intentions. Okay, this is a good opportunity for you to plant new seeds when it comes to your appearance, your direction, how you see yourself, what you want out of life. What is the life path? What is the plan? What is the system? How have you set up systems? How can you make things more efficient for you? How can you create a strategy that is so much more healthier for you so that you live a much more well-rounded life, so that you're taking care of yourself? This could be, where it's like you need to make yourself that priority, Virgo. Libra. So Libra, this new moon is happening in your 12th house. So with you, of course, your season is just around the corner. And during Virgo season, this is about recalibrating. This is about recharging your energy, your batteries. This is about taking some time to reflect, Libra. Maybe you feel like you need to get away, you need a holiday, you need some time off. Maybe you've penciled that in leading up to your season. But you see, with Mercury retrograde here happening in your 12th house over the past few weeks, I think there's been a lot going on for you with respect to your subconscious. Okay? Dreams, visions. You're thinking about the past quite a bit. Needing just some space for yourself emotionally. But also space because it's like, I need time to either, it could be you need time to think something through. But what I'm actually getting more is needing time to stop thinking so much, right? Because maybe for you, of course, with you, Libra, you are an air sign and you do tend to with the way, even with the scales and everything, you do tend to weigh out your options, weigh out the pros versus the cons. There's a lot of thinking going on. You can be a massive overthinker, Libra. So I think with Mercury here, retrograde in your 12th house, maybe it's highlighting your health in this way, your mental health, looking after yourself in this respect, getting out of your head, finding ways to get out of your head, to not think about that matter so much, to not think about that issue, that work-related issue, that issue to do with services, thinking about people who are working for you or you're working for them. So the new moon in your 12th house, I think, is going to highlight how you will be setting new intentions with respect to how you can remove yourself, let go, rest, unwind, and perhaps as well planting new seeds to do with spiritual practices. Maybe there's something here about integrating a particular spiritual practice so that there is greater harmony and balance in your life. Of course, you're all about harmony and balance, Libra. I just want to go over to the chat a moment. So, Nairi, you said yes. Okay, you do have Chiron and Aries. Creator, Sun and Chiron conjunction by sign. Definitely reinventing your life, emotionally, physically, financially. Yeah. I hope that really works out well for you, Patricia. And Otacon, you said focus on your mind this new moon. Yeah. Mercury world sign. Leah, you're asking me a question, but that's something I can't answer for you. Leo rising, creating that order, new life, doing all the things. And then Eddie, you are helping with the answer. Okay, thanks, Eddie. David, hello. How are you doing? Little wizard emoji. Kelly, you said yes. And Patricia, Virgo moon changing for the better. It's all true. This is right on for you, Hannah. Fits you perfectly. Wished for this your whole existence. Oh my gosh. Big changes for you then. Standards and steps, intentions. I think the thing just for that, Patricia, and I'm sharing this also because I have a Virgo rising. I think there can be even just certain expectations with the Virgo energy. Just even in general, everyone has Virgo in their chart, but yeah, there can be such high expectations, and whenever we don't live up to a certain standard, instead of just giving ourselves some grace, instead of going, I'm not a perfect person, it's almost like we internalize that. I'm saying we, but I'm trying to really focus more on the Virgo archetype, but I do apologize. But there can be more of that sort of, well, I'm not living up to that, so I must be the issue, that kind of thing. And then the whole punishing and beating oneself up. So yeah, just grace, having grace, gentleness, kindness, and that speaks so much to the Pisces energy, that Pisces opposite, and with Saturn being there, and those lessons to learn and the integration there. Okay, so Scorpio, let's turn to you, Scorpio. Let's talk about how this new moon is going to be happening in your 11th house, okay? So over the past few weeks for you, my gosh, so many community changes, right? So much that you are reevaluating, couldn't get the words out there. So many things that you are reevaluating with respect to communities, with respect to teams you're a part of. Maybe it's that you are rethinking practically, strategically, who do I want to collaborate with? Like, which team do I want to be on? Who are my people? Which friends do I resonate with the most? Who do I really like? Who's enjoyable to be around? Who can I rely on? Who's loyal? Who's dependable? But also, what kind of standards do I set when it comes to my friends? Is the bar too high sometimes? Possibly. We're just following on from the whole Virgo stuff we were talking about. But yeah, reassessing matters to do with friends and groups and even the networks that you're a part of, the communities that you're a part of, and you know what, the improvements that have been happening, and the work-related matters that have been coming together as well within certain communities and teams you're a part of. Even thinking about just the organizations that you may be a part of. You could be a part of a certain organization or a club where it's very much about, right, this needs to get done, and maybe you feel like you're having to keep up with the deadline, with the schedule, with the routine. And to be honest with you, it could be that things have been piling up in this way, perhaps throughout Virgo season for you, Scorpio. So I would just say breathe, right? And it could even be that the new moon here is an opportunity for you to set new intentions to do with all of the workload, or to do with the types of groups that you're a part of, and maybe even looking at who you can give work to, who you can delegate tasks to, right? How you can take some of the pressure off a little bit. And it could even be that you plant new seeds with respect to what your hopes and visions are for the future. You could have this vision or this direction in your mind about what you would like out of life, what you hope for, especially in terms of the collective, how you see the collective headed, where you see the collective headed. So yeah, this is a new moon where you can indeed go inward, reflect, and possibly plant new seeds. Sagittarius. So this new moon is happening in your 10th house, Sagittarius. Right, so for you, my gosh, let's just think about the past few weeks. Let's think about Virgo season. Let's think about Mercury entering Virgo around the start of August, and with the Mercury retrograde, and how, it could suggest that many of you have been getting back into work after not being in work for a while. It could suggest reevaluating the workload completely, reevaluating your career, reevaluating your purpose, your life's mission. It could be a complete identity crisis where it's like, oh my gosh, how did I not see that before? Or it could be that you have been reassessing how it is that you show up to employers, how it is that you show up to managers and bosses. And it could quite possibly be here as well, Sagittarius, that you wish to set new intentions to do with some type of achievement, a reward, an accomplishment, such as you deciding, hey, I would like to progress in some way within my job. I want to progress. I want to get better. I want to get more money. I want to be recognized more. I want a different role, a different position that fulfills me, that makes me happier, that is more aligned with me in terms of my health, my well-being. So yeah, setting new intentions then with respect to your professional life, your career, your public image, your reputation, your persona. And I think, Sagittarius, that you do typically give off this kind of clean reputation, so to speak. I think when it comes to your career, you do try to be somewhat sensible and put together. And I think also you like to be a part of a profession where other people are pulling their weight, where there is some type of structure, there's a system, people know the role very well. So yeah, I basically think I'm saying this all basically to say words, Hannah. I apologize. But I'm saying all of this because I think Mercury retrograde has been highlighting the reorganization of such matters and the reevaluation of such matters. And then the new moon happening in this sign, in this house for you, is going to highlight how you wish to act and behave moving forward, and the intentions that you wish to set moving forward. Capricorn. Okay, so Capricorn, this new moon is going to happen in your 9th house. So, when reflecting upon Mercury retrograde and Virgo season for you, maybe what's been coming up a lot for you is your higher meaning, reevaluating what your higher meaning is, what does indeed bring you substance, like what is meaningful, what is impactful for you, what is the message that you deliver, what do you teach, okay, what are your philosophies. Your philosophies tend to be based upon something somewhat more practical and earthy, so to speak. So yeah, I think for you Capricorn, I think it's highlighting that the past few weeks you've been reevaluating what your beliefs are and what it is that you would even wish to share with the world. And what, again, I think the higher meaning part of it really highlights something that you haven't experienced before. You think about the 9th house and how it's tied to exploration and traveling and experiencing new things. I think the Mercury retrograde can highlight, okay, well, perhaps something has changed for you in terms of your meaning, and that may have that perhaps has been that's been supported by some type of training, so learning more, any advanced training that you're doing, just progressing in some way, wanting to really get better and to improve upon your bigger message and your teachings and the things that you share. So basically reevaluating these areas. And then also with the new moon happening, it's about, okay, again, new intentions. I just find this very interesting that Mercury retrograde is the way it is. Virgo season started, Mercury retrograde happening, and then Mercury goes direct the day after the new moon. So it feels like the new moon sort of highlights how it's very much about setting new intentions based upon what we have been learning throughout Virgo season. That's just the way I kind of see it in my mind anyway. So for you, Capricorn, yeah, setting new intentions then with respect to your beliefs and what has been coming up for you here to do with your beliefs, what's been coming up for you over the past few weeks when it comes to advanced training, higher education, again, your higher meaning. I keep saying higher meaning because I just feel like that is perhaps the most important piece of this. Okay, Aquarius. So Aquarius, this new moon is going to happen in your 8th house. So for you, Aquarius, over the past few weeks with Mercury being retrograde in your 8th house, well, perhaps what's come up for you is having to go over any worrisome behaviors that tends to be buried, that tends to be hidden. You have this 8th house hidden part of the self that can really read read too much into things, and you can stress yourself out. And it could be that there's even this detachment at times from your physical body, or not recognizing whenever your nervous system is shot, when it's just it's all jittery and you're nervous, and there can of course be that sort of chaotic energy to you, Aquarius, in general. But yeah, the point of this is with Virgo there in the 8th house, it could be that a lot of the times you don't recognize whenever your nervous system is not regulated very well. And so maybe for you, Mercury retrograde has been a really good opportunity for you to go inward, right? To actually get to a place of bringing awareness to your body and the sensations that you feel, and even looking at experiencing greater intimacy. And this isn't just about, sexual matters. This is also about emotional and intellectual, being able to have like a really meaningful discussion with someone, for example. So yeah, even think as well, there's something here about connection in general, being able to relate, being able to connect, being able to socialize, where you're not walking away from that discussion and instantly like picking it apart or worrying or reading too much into it. And then I suppose the other thing with the Mercury retrograde is perhaps there's been a lot that has shifted. You've been shifting a lot, moving pieces around to do with investments, shared ownership, shared accounts, those joint accounts, thinking about your partner's money, how it is that you share money. Yeah. And so with the new moon happening in your 8th house on the 14th of September, I think this is going to be this opportunity for you to, okay, it's time to start afresh, or it's time to just start to rebuild here, to go over this process here, and to set new intentions based upon what has come up for you over the past few weeks with respect to shared ownership or other people's resources, other people's money. But then even again, planting new seeds and setting new intentions based upon what has come up for you with respect to the other stuff I was talking about, right? with the stress or the nerves or the tension or the inner the inner worry, which is actually really helpful, by the way. Like that can be really helpful. I think Mercury retrograde has been quite useful for you in this way, Aquarius. Okay, so lastly, Pisces. So Pisces, this new moon is going to happen in your 7th house. So for you Pisces, with Mercury retrograde in your 7th house over the, I think there's a lot you've been shifting around. A lot has been shifted around when it comes to contracts, agreements, partnerships, seeing eye to eye with others, looking at competitors, looking at people who oppose you in life, who disagree with you in life. I think this has been about you perhaps revisiting an old conversation with an old colleague or someone you've partnered with before, especially in terms of business. Perhaps certain business deals have been revisited, or you've been reviewing your relationships in general, right? Thinking about committed relationships, thinking about marriage, thinking about weddings, these types of things tied to the 7th house as well. Maybe there is something here about, okay, we need to review such areas. And within the new moon happening on the 14th of September, this can be a good opportunity to kind of start afresh, or kind of see, right, this is what I cleaned up over the past few weeks, and then this is what we're going to do moving forward. These are the intentions that I'm going to set moving forward when it comes to other people, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to partnerships. But then it's not just about other people in this way. It's also about what it is that other people are reflecting to you about yourself. Okay. And maybe what's come up for you over the past few weeks with Mercury retrograde is that others have reflected to you times when you can stress and you can worry, and you can even become caught up in, oh, I need to do this and this and this and this and this, and just go through the many lists, etc. So yeah, maybe that has been helpful. The reflection there from others has been helpful, because then you're able to kind of see, okay, right, I need to step back from this situation. I'm too close to it. Or what can I do to self-soothe? What can I do to help myself? What can I do to help others as well? Especially if it is that certain partners in your life, or, even thinking about friends and colleagues, etc. Especially if it is that you've noticed they've been a bit more like chaotic and stressed out, then you can step back from that a little bit and assist in the ways that you can, or you can maybe even invite greater flow or ease, or just help on a more empathetic level. But anyway, the whole point of this is to say that the new moon in Virgo can be quite a cleansing, replenishing time, a time to focus on health related matters with respect to relationships. Okay, so that is all the horoscopes for the new moon in Virgo happening on the 14th of September. I just want to say thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate it. Now, this is the Q&A section. If you have a question about this new moon, about Virgo here, if you have a question, it is $10 per question. You can ask. No pressure though, completely up to you. But yeah, I just wanted to add that in. And also, whilst I'm waiting, I'm going to read through more comments. David, you said you have a sore head. It might be the moon, might be the sun, might be the heat. Oh no, yeah, with the heat and everything, it's just too much. Yeah. I hope your head feels better. Hope you feel better. It's just been so uncomfortably warm at times. I'm like, it's September. Why is it so warm? You're ready to cleanse come September 14th. Woo! Yeah, do you know what? With September, I'm hoping that by the new moon in Virgo happening on the 14th of September, that the heat will have left us. Yeah, it's not so bad at the minute, but yeah. Okay, creator, you said we are your team. Oh, that's so nice. And then creator, you said you're Capricorn rising. Yes, because I remember the question that you asked you asked in the Virgo archetype video. So you have Capricorn rising. And yes, find her. Libra and Gemini have been done. Just give me a short period of time and I will get the timestamps out. I'll do the timestamps in a little while. Right. So anyway, seeing as nobody has a question, which is all good, and there's never any pressure, thank you so much for listening. And if you did enjoy this presentation today, you can always buy me a coffee. The link is just there. You can also find it in the description box. And I just want to take the time to say thank you all so much for being here this evening, this Sunday evening. Creator said he thought the heat was leaving tomorrow or today. I'm not sure. It could be maybe in terms of where you live. I don't know. But yeah, right now here in Belfast, it's quite warm. But yes, I just want to say thank you all so much. And I hope that you found this video to be helpful. Thank you, Hannah. Very good memory. Way of communicating. Been with you since I started. Really? Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for your support, Patricia, for being here. Yeah, I'm so glad. You know what? I just really hope that you find the information to be helpful. I'm always learning. I always say this, I'm always learning just as much as anybody else. And, I'm not going to know everything there is to know about astrology, but I'm always willing to learn and I just love it. Love learning about it, love sharing it. David, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. The UK. Oh, you're in the UK. You're in the UK. Okay. You're in the UK. Okay. Take care, Hannah. Okay. Cool. Well, that is me. I'm gonna finally go here. It's so typical, isn't it? To like when you're from UK, Ireland area, like talk about the weather. Anyway. Yeah, right. I'm gonna get going, and I hope you have a lovely Sunday. I hope you have a lovely Sunday and all the best during this new moon. I hope it brings you lovely things and coming out of the retrograde season, like clarity, all the good things, sending you all positive things. And I will talk to you all later. Bye.